Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. In this session, I'll be discussing AvaTax Developer Support and how to ensure seamless integration with our APIs. As a quick introduction, my name is Devin Muse. I am a Senior Developer Support Engineer here at Avalara. Our team collaborates with our developer customers on their most technical AvaTax integration questions. Today, I'll be sharing some of my recommended ways to effectively integrate with AvaTax, dive into some of the common challenges users might encounter, and then guide you where to find additional support. So once you've secured your credentials, you've probably begun reviewing our developer documentation. But if you're anything like me, I believe the most effective way to reinforce my understanding is by applying what I've learned. To help you with that, I will guide you through the initial steps of using our APIs. And there are many ways to connect to our APIs, such as curl, shell scripting, and many others. However, today, I'm going to be highlighting a tool called Postman. Postman is a popular API platform which offers a user-friendly interface for interacting with APIs and is freely available to download and use. While Avalara is not affiliated with Postman, I do believe it offers several benefits. The first, with Postman, developers can quickly and efficiently test the AvaTax APIs, which can help you become more comfortable with understanding how these APIs work. Additionally, when it comes to debugging, the comprehensive syntax highlighting and error handling features can help you quickly identify and resolve issues. Finally, one of my favorite features is collection management. This allows you to group and organize API requests into folders, also known as collections, to streamline your workflow. To help you get started, we have an AvaTax API collection, which can be imported directly into Postman. So now I'll be walking you through getting set up with this collection. The first step is to navigate to the Avalara developer website. From this page, we'll click on API Explorer and then AvaTax. This will bring you to our top 10 endpoints page, listing our most commonly used APIs. If you're coming from a search engine, you can simply search AvaTax top 10 endpoints, and it should bring you right here. At the bottom of this page, you'll find the download link for our Postman collection. So let's go ahead and download this now. Once we have this downloaded, we can open up the Postman application. To install this collection, we just simply click on Import and then drag in the recently downloaded file. After a few seconds, we'll have the full AvaTax collection imported into Postman with all of the AvaTax APIs in pre-formatted folders and examples that can be used for testing. Before we start testing, we'll need to set up some important variables. Variables in Postman are essentially placeholder values used to store important details that are used throughout this collection. We can click on the Variables tab to set this up. The first variable we need to look at is the base URL. This URL designates whether you're targeting the sandbox or production environment. By default, we have this set up to sandbox. However, you can easily update the current value here to target our production environment. And you can find that value in the overview section under collection variables. We will also need to set up your credentials. AvaTax offers two methods of authentication, either username and password or account ID and license key. Depending on which authentication method you choose, you'll want to make sure you update the appropriate variables. By default, this collection uses username and password. So if you're using account ID and license key, you would need to update these variables to account ID and license key. Once you've saved your credentials, we can start testing the APIs. And I believe the best endpoint to start with is our ping API. You can locate this API by navigating to the utilities folder and then opening up ping. One of the best features of this API is that it allows you to test connectivity as well as your credentials. If we hit send, even without credentials inputted or invalid credentials, it's expected to receive a response from our servers, and you'll see authenticated equals false. This is a valuable detail because it can help you rule out other potential connection issues, such as firewall issues. If you've confirmed that your credentials are valid, you can begin testing the other APIs. And now we're going to look at one of our most popular tax calculation APIs, the Create Transaction endpoint located in the Transactions folder. This is an extremely powerful API that allows you to input all the necessary transaction details for our tax engine to determine the most accurate tax rates and rules. When building an integration, interacting directly with this API allows you to test that you're observing the expected tax results. But before we send this request, I want to quickly highlight two fields in the request body. The first is the type field. This field indicates the type of document we're sending, such as a sales invoice, a purchase invoice, or return invoice. As a quick note, any type that ends in invoice will be a saved transaction on your account. For temporary transactions that you don't need saved, such as for quotes or testing purposes, you can use a type ending in order, such as sales order. The second field I want to highlight is the company code field. This field is what AvaTax uses to look up your specific company settings. When this collection is installed in Postman, it'll import the value default. However, in your testing, you'll want to make sure that this company code value matches what's stored on your account. In my case, I'm using the company code next. Now, we can go ahead and send this request, and then we'll see the tax result on the right-hand side. Of course, there's still a lot to learn, so we do recommend referencing our developer guide and documentation as you go through testing these API endpoints. Now, once you've become a bit more comfortable with our APIs, you'll likely want to begin connecting AvaTax to your business application. If you're building a custom API integration, currently, one of the simplest ways to do that is using one of our software development kits, or SDKs for short. There are several benefits to using our SDKs. The first is faster development. By leveraging SDKs, developers can save time and effort focusing on business logic rather than dealing with low-level API interactions. This is because the SDKs provide pre-built functions, methods, and error handling for all AvaTax API endpoints to reduce the complexities of sending these API calls. Additionally, the AvaTax SDKs are available in multiple programming languages, including C#, Java, PHP, JavaScript, Python, and Ruby. This allows us to cater to a wide range of developer preferences and project requirements. When it comes to future-proofing, the SDKs are maintained and updated by the AvaTax engineering team to ensure compatibility with future API changes and improvements. Lastly, the SDKs are fully open source and available in our GitHub repository. As a result, any developer can contribute and submit pull requests to enhance and improve the SDKs. Here's a quick example of how to recreate a Create Transaction API request via the C# SDK. Here you can see that in a few lines of code using our Fluent Transaction Builder, you can quickly start connecting your business application to our APIs. Of course, when it comes to developing any application, users may face some challenges along the way. Here, I'll be going over solutions to some of the common challenges users may face when first getting started with AvaTax, as well as some best practices. A common issue a customer may observe when first getting started is no tax being returned in the API response. And there can be a few reasons for this result, so let's review these now. One common reason for no tax being calculated is related to where you're set up to collect tax. We can check this from the AvaTax UI by navigating to Settings and then Where You Collect Tax. This page will show you where you are currently set up to collect tax in AvaTax. If you haven't added the relevant jurisdiction from the transaction, or the date of the transaction occurs before the effective date indicated here, this can result in no tax being returned. Another common reason for no tax being calculated is due to the taxability of the item in the transaction. Since different transactions and jurisdictions may treat item taxability differently, it's important to check to see if that item is actually taxable in that jurisdiction. One approach to check this is by using our taxability matrix tool. To find this tool, simply search for the Avalara tax code search tool, and then you can sign in on the top right with your credentials. There, you'll be able to access the taxability matrix tool to look up whether a specific Avalara tax code is taxable in that jurisdiction. Thankfully, for saved transactions, this process can be a bit easier. By pulling up a saved transaction on your account, you can expand the line item tax details, and the UI will provide these details in a centralized location. Another issue a user may face when first starting out is a company not found error. In this example, we see that I passed in the company code Avalara next, which the API said it was unable to find. And this issue is related to a mismatch between the passed in company code and the value stored on your account. It's very important that these values match one another to avoid this error. Additionally, AvaTax uses this company code to look up your tax settings, so it's very important. To check what company code you have set on your account, we can click on Settings and then Company Details to review the company information. On this page, we see that although I have the company name set as Avalara Next, the company code itself is simply set to Next. So I'd want to update that value in the request to just Next. For customers just starting with our SDKs, one common issue you may notice is unhandled exception errors. And this issue is due to how AvaTax errors are handled by default within the SDKs. While you'll want to refer to our related GitHub repository, this can typically be resolved by wrapping the method in a try-catch block. This allows you to access the internal members of the AvaTax error and choose which details to display to the end user. And the last common issue I'd like to discuss is regarding troubleshooting challenges. Occasionally, our custom API customers may face difficulty in attempting to identify what's causing an issue. I find that this can be a result of insufficient data, which can help you resolve the issue. To avoid this, it's recommended to incorporate API request and response logging into your application. Each of the AvaTax SDKs includes built-in logging support to simplify this process. So by having records of the outgoing and incoming data, you can more quickly identify the root cause of the issue. Of course, you're not alone in this process. If you have any questions along the way, there's a few places you can reach out to for assistance. The first is the Avalara Developer Community. The Developer Community Forum is a public platform open to all where developers can collaborate while building their integrations. There are a number of benefits to using our developer forum. The first is that it's a great place to find answers. You can browse through a vast repository of previously asked questions and answers from real customers, enabling you to quickly find solutions to common challenges. If you can't find the answer you're looking for, you can ask the question. The developer forum provides a platform for developers to seek assistance, ask technical questions, and get answers from experienced AvaTax developers and support engineers such as myself. Finally, if you're an expert in our products, it's a place to share knowledge. Engage in knowledge sharing discussions with other community members where you can share your expertise, insights, and best practices related to AvaTax integration development. If you need any additional help along the way, we have you covered. AvaTax is backed by a robust global support organization, ensuring assistance is readily available across different time zones and regions for all inquiries. Our commitment to support extends beyond borders, providing reliable assistance to our customers worldwide. As previously mentioned, we do have that dedicated developer support team of experienced developers and support engineers who specialize in API and SDK development. In addition to moderating the developer forum, our team can assist directly via support cases for private exchange of communication. Finally, one of our top priorities is to ensure seamless integration for all of our customers. From initial setup to post-integration support, we are committed to providing the assistance you need for a successful integration journey. Thank you again so much for joining this session. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat and we'll get back to you after this session. I hope to see you in the developer community. Thank you and take care.